Welcome back to Crypto Tutorial. On today's video, I would like to discuss XRP and as well many other cryptocurrencies. So let's take a quick look at what we are currently seeing. So on Bitcoin, I'm just wondering if everyone is able to see me. Well, on Bitcoin, I would like to discuss actually not this major pattern that we are seeing on the daily time frame. I think this is very important to notice what the overall trend is showing us, but as well we want to take a look at a few other metrics. So let's take a quick look at what we are right now seeing on the 4-hourly time frame. Well, clearly what we saw yesterday is something I think is quite good to know, and that is that we have seen this beautiful descending support being broken down below. So we have seen multiple touch points on top of this descending support, and yesterday we saw actually a breakdown below it, and right now we are retesting this range. So this could mean two different options. So option one is actually that we are going to be right now retesting this range as a level of support, as a level of resistance, and we will see afterwards further continuation towards the downside. This is one of the possibilities. So we broke down below it, we are right now retesting it as resistance, and we will break down even further towards the downside. What else is actually possible? So if we see right now a breakout above it, finding support once more on top of this descending resistance, we could perhaps see further continuation towards the upside, heading once more towards the one Fibonacci range at 65,000 US dollars. So that is something I think is quite probable, and the reason why I would like to explain that to you immediately. So if we take a look at the money flow index, what I think is absolutely important is that if we take a look at the 4-hourly time frame, and I would actually like to zoom in a little bit closer, but I will also have to measure this like this. You can clearly see something I think is absolutely important. So at this point in time, we were creating a higher high on the money flow, but we were also seeing a lower low on the chart. So this higher low, lower low on the chart is clearly showing us that we are seeing a bullish divergence on the money flow index. So this is absolutely something very important right now, because we are seeing right now that the Bitcoin buyers are actually increasing, and we are also almost breaking out above this range of descending resistance on the money flow as well. So this could perhaps mean that we are going to see further increase on the money flow, but as well, most importantly, we are going to see further increase on the chart as well. So this is absolutely important. What the money flow is showing us is as well how much money is actually entering the market once more. And what I think is important to know is that if we take a look a little bit further, you can also clearly see that we were inside of this downtrend. We are right now heading towards a breakout or perhaps a retest of this descending resistance. If we're breaking out above it, I think we will be heading once more towards the upside, and this is very important to me because we still have plenty of space towards the upside to see further growth and continuation on Bitcoin. So this is for sure absolutely important right now. So this being said, also we have to watch out for a bearish divergence once we see a further continuation of momentum towards the upside, because this might be actually pushing Bitcoin's price down or actually not helping for a further growth during the upcoming hours. So this is absolutely important to monitor very closely. As well, let's take a quick look at what we are seeing on the RSI. On the RSI, we are seeing quite a similar downtrend taking place. We are as well seeing multiple lower highs getting created as well. We have seen that on the chart, and what we are right now seeing is actually something quite good. We are seeing clearly a reversal getting created because we are below the dotted line on the lower part, and therefore we are once more heading towards this descending resistance on the RSI. What I think is very important is to break out above it and see further continuation towards the upside, towards a breakout above the dotted line on the upper part. This is only possible if we will see major continuation towards the upside. Just to take a quick look at what we are seeing on the MACD to see if this actually is confirming that we might be seeing major movement towards the upside. Yeah, we have seen clearly momentum loss on the MACD. I'm sorry guys, I'm a little bit ill today. And this momentum loss is clearly showing us that we might perhaps be heading towards a crossover if we see continuation towards the upside. So this is absolutely important. And let's take a quick look at the 1 hourly time frame. So on the 1 hourly time frame, we already saw a crossover here after quite a long period of downward momentum. Therefore, I'm actually quite glad that we are seeing this. And what I think is absolutely important is that on the MACD, we are clearly seeing this lower low on the chart, but at a higher low on the momentum indicator. And this is actually telling us that we are seeing a bullish divergence as well on the MACD taking place. And this is absolutely important to me because this is actually saying we are going to experience major momentum towards the upside. And right now we might be heading once more towards a $65 range to see a retest occur at that point in time. So if we take a quick look at the EMA ribbon, you can clearly see that it is serving as a major level of resistance above us. Right now, currently at exactly above this descending resistance where we are currently trading at, it is serving as a major level of resistance. So right now, this is absolutely important due to the fact that we would like to see actually this movement towards the upside continue, be able to break out above this previous descending support, right now a current level of resistance, but as well it has to break out above the EMA ribbon. That is absolutely very important. We have a double level of resistance above us that we have to break out above to see further continuation heading towards the $65,000 range. So that is very important. This being said, let's take a quick look at the 4 hourly time frame, and afterwards I would like to discuss the more macro environment on the daily time frame. So we can clearly see that we have as well over here the EMA ribbon serving as a level of resistance above us. This is absolutely important to monitor very closely because once we are seeing a breakout above this descending resistance, we are actually also heading towards the retest of the EMA ribbon. And at this point in time, on the 4 hourly time frame, we might not be able to break out all the way above the EMA ribbon towards the $65,000 range, and therefore we might expect a trend reversal or a rejection at that point in time, heading once more towards a retest on top of this descending support. So very important things you would like to monitor very closely on Bitcoin right now as well. Let's take a quick look at a few other things on the daily time frame. So if we take a look at the daily time frame, what I would like to discuss is actually something absolutely very important, and that is this major pattern that we are creating on the daily time frame. Why is this such an important pattern to me? It's because we have already seen multiple touch points for sure on both sides. So we have seen actually 3 touch points underneath, we have seen 3 touch points underneath this ascending resistance, but we have also seen multiple touch points on top of this ascending support line. So this is actually showing me that we are actually creating this rising wedge pattern on the daily time frame. This is absolutely marvelous because if we are right now seeing a setback occur, a further decline in price action on Bitcoin, it is actually very likely that we are going to head towards this 0.618 range at 51,000 US dollars, and that is something I think is absolutely possible due to the fact that if we see a further breakdown, we will be heading towards a retest of this ascending previous support, and we will be confirming for sure this major pattern that we have been seeing. So that is something I think absolutely good to know, that if we are heading towards the $50,000 range, it will not just be a major discount on Bitcoin, but it will also be a retest of previous support, and therefore we will still be inside of this pattern. But what will eventually break down or break out above or underneath this pattern look like? So just to answer that question, I would like to take the measurement from the beginning of the ascending support all the way towards the first touch point above underneath the ascending resistance. So this is the target that we are actually looking at right now. If we are going to say, for example, let's say that we are going to see a breakdown occur on the 11th of December. So this would be a breakdown on the 11th of December, and if this would occur on the daily time frame, it would mean that we are going to see actually a decline of approximately 50% or a correction of 50% on Bitcoin. Yeah, for sure, I think this is actually not something that is very likely to occur, but perhaps you might disagree with me, and you are right now thinking that this is actually quite a likely scenario. So if you think this, do not forget to place your comment down below in the description, because I would highly appreciate that, to take a look at what your personal thoughts are about what the market is going to do. If we take a look at 200-day moving average, what I think is absolutely important is that it's right now aligned with the 0.5 Fibonacci at approximately 47,000 US dollars. I personally think that if we trade sideways for a while, where we are currently at, of perhaps see a minor increase and afterwards a rejection, the 200-day moving average will for sure once more head towards the upside slightly, and this would also mean that it will form, it is right now as well forming a level of support underneath us, and therefore I think it is very likely that we might perhaps expect some wicks all the way towards the downside, but we actually would like to close all candle bodies on top of this ascending support, so that is absolutely important. This being said, yeah, if we are going to see actually a breakout occur above this range, it won't be happening in the short-term scenario. If you ask me, I think it is actually more likely that we are going to see accumulation afterwards, setback even further down, heading towards a retest of this ascending support, and afterwards seeing a trend reversal getting created, heading once more towards the upper right direction. But if we are seeing a breakout occur above this ascending resistance, what is actually most importantly is that we are actually heading above the $87,000, and actually once more, or actually such as predicted, all the way towards the $98,000, so almost $100,000. This will be for sure one of the points when I will be taking my take profits on Bitcoin. I think this is absolutely something you would like to consider once we see this major leg towards the upside getting created, and personally I think this will be the case outside of this major pattern that we were seeing on Bitcoin. So that is absolutely something that's very good to know. And right now I would actually like to take a look at a few other cryptocurrencies. So in general, I like to take a look at Cardano to see what the current development is on this cryptocurrency, and I would like to monitor actually very closely on the 4-hourly time frame. Well, what you can clearly see over here is something I think is quite important, because if I take a look at this descending resistance, you can clearly see I made it a little bit darker so you could be able to see the descending resistance, but most importantly right now you can see the 200-day moving average. So the 200-day moving average on the 4-hourly time frame has served as a major level of resistance. We saw multiple touch points underneath, and we were not able to see a breakout occur above this range. So above the 200-day moving average, we have not been able to break out above it. So that is something absolutely very important to monitor very closely on Cardano. As well, this is not just a 200-day moving average that we are not able to break out above. It's as well this major level of, well, this is not well drawn anymore, but this is as well, let's place it like this, a major level of descending resistance. So we have seen as well multiple touch points below this descending resistance. Yes, we did see a fake out occur right over here on the 28th of October, and as well we saw this major breakdown occur on the 11th of November. But afterwards we did see actually that it was clearly a fake out. We went straight back down. We did not even find support on top of previous descending resistance. We actually broke out down below it, we retested, and we saw this major decline towards the downside. So that is absolutely something you would like to take into consideration right now. And for the people who haven't watched this live stream yet, previously this white box underneath us, this is a major level of support and resistance. In the past, this has been a level where we have traded in between for a very long time. We saw major points of support being found on top of the lower part of this box as well, we did see well, major levels of resistance underneath. So this area is actually very significant in the price action of Cardano. This is absolutely important. Also, way further back, we did see a rejection at that point in time. So this is absolutely a very important level of support and resistance. And therefore, we would like to stay actually on top of this range before heading even further. This being said, what we would like to see on Cardano is to for sure see a breakout occur above this descending resistance, being able to see an increase in price action and breaking out above the 0.382 Fibonacci range at $2.28 and continuing with our uptrend. Even if we see a breakdown afterwards or a decline in price action once we reach the $2.28 range, it is likely that we have to hold strong on top of this previous descending resistance, find support on top of it, and continue with the movement towards the upside afterwards. But what are the indicators showing us? So on the 4-hourly time frame, the MACD does actually look very good. We are right now heading towards a crossover. We are experiencing momentum towards the upside, and that is actually telling us that it is very likely that we are going to see further continuation towards the upside. But what do we have to take into consideration? Yes, we are seeing the EMA ribbon as a level of resistance above us, and we will like to break out above this range. Otherwise, it is very likely that we will get rejected once more and see a movement towards the downside further on Cardano, something I personally think won't be very good for the overall trend. But Bitcoin does actually look very strong right now, so I must admit that I am quite secure that we are going to expect Cardano once more heading towards the $2 range. What I personally think is absolutely very likely to occur. If we head towards the 1-hourly time frame, what you can clearly see is that we are experiencing a lot of momentum towards the downside, towards the upside, and for sure, very, very important is that we are not losing any momentum strength as we saw previously. So this is absolutely looking very good to me. And what is actually even more significant is that we are creating this lower low on the chart, and we are creating this higher low on the metric, on the MACD. That is clearly a bullish divergence, and we would like to take this into consideration for sure on the 1-hourly time frame. And if we head towards the 4-hourly time frame, right over here we are seeing actually something different taking place. We are not seeing that bullish divergence, but we are for sure seeing that crossover, and this is perhaps showing us that we are going to see growth towards the upside during the upcoming hours as well. Let's take a quick look at what I think is absolutely a very good indicator. That's the money flow index. On the money flow index, you can clearly see we are right now seeing major increase in price action. We are heading towards the upper part on the money flow index, and before we do so, we still have plenty of space to grow, because we are right now at 52.6, and the dotted line is at 80. So this means we are still 20% to grow, but we can be overextended and heading once more towards the 90 area. This means that we still have 30% until a rejection is likely to occur, and further, a decline in price action will be noticeable. So on the money flow, everything looks actually very well on the 4-hourly time frame. And lastly, I would like to take a look at the RSI. On the RSI, it does actually look very good. What does actually not look exceptionally well is that we are right now seeing a bearish divergence on the 4-hourly time frame. So if we zoom in a little bit closer, you can clearly see that we created this lower high on the chart, but we have right now created a slightly higher high on the RSI. So if we see further continuation, the RSI will rise also further, but this would mean that we are seeing a bearish divergence on the 4-hourly RSI, and that could perhaps mean that we are going to see a minor decline before heading even further towards that $2 target I discussed previously. So why is this absolutely important? It's absolutely important for Cardano because if we do see an increase in price action heading once more towards a retest of this descending resistance, it would be actually very good to stay in between these ranges, accumulating, seeing descending accumulation taking place before expecting a breakout above this descending resistance and heading towards the upside. But if we break down below the $1.56 area, I personally think that it is very good that you would like to take a look at Cardano once again, because it is very likely that you would like to reconsider once we break down below this range where Cardano will possibly be heading towards. This is not something I think will be highly likely to occur, but for sure, I'm just telling you this because you have to be careful. If we break down below this range, it is very likely that we are going to see even further continuation towards the downside, perhaps heading towards that $1.44 range and even further towards the 99 cents range at $1 exactly. So absolutely not something I think will occur, but I'm just saying that if we do break down below the $1.56 range, further continuation of movement towards the downside or decline in price action is actually very likely. But currently we would like to see this descending accumulation taking place before being able to break out above it and seeing further growth, heading once more towards the $2.58 range. So this is absolutely very important. And what else is actually something I would like to talk about? Well, yes, I would like to take a quick look at what we are seeing on the horizontal level of support and resistance before actually ending this live stream. So for all the viewers who are currently watching this live stream, do not forget that if you post down below a comment in the description, I would for sure take a look at the cryptocurrency of your own choice. And if you are a first time watcher, do not forget to go down below towards the description where you will be able to purchase cryptocurrencies and as well earn a $3,500 deposit bonus on Bybit just by using the link down below. And as well, you will be able to to be ready for this major breakout that will occur on Cardano once we break out above this descending resistance. What I personally think is that we are heading right now towards this range. We will see descending accumulation and afterward growth towards the upside. So for sure, Cardano right now, major accumulation zone. I'm accumulating Cardano a lot right now. I've been accumulating. Yesterday was we went to the $1.72, and I've been accumulating actually around the $1.80, $1.72. I've been accumulating a lot lately of Cardano because I do think we are going to see a major exponential growth during the upcoming months, and for sure also because we are seeing the new update coming. I am very bullish on this cryptocurrency for sure. This being said, I wanted to discuss on the daily time frame what I think is absolutely important. Those are the horizontal levels of support and resistance. You can clearly see that this level has been a major level in the past. We would like to stay on top of this previous rejections, and therefore I'm actually very concerned if we would break down below the $1.56, because once we did that previously, we did see major downward continuation heading towards the $1 range, something I think would be quite bad for the overall trend on Cardano. Well, this being said, I would like to take lastly a quick look at Solana before being actually ending this live stream. Well, taking a quick look at Solana, I would like to measure what we are currently seeing. So yeah, Solana did see this major growth outside of this symmetrical triangle on the 4-hourly time frame, and we were rejected at approximately, let's take a quick look, at $267,000. Right now we traded all the way towards the previous level of support where we were creating this symmetrical triangle, and we see the breakout occur. So clearly we would like to actually hold strong on top of this range, because otherwise we will be creating a lower low on Cardano. This is overall bad for the trend, because you would like to actually see higher lows getting created, or equal lows are also possible if we afterwards see once more higher lows getting created in the future. So those are two very important things you want to monitor closely that you would like to monitor very closely on Solana. If we take a quick look as well at what we are seeing here, we are also right now finding support on top of this previous level of resistance. So let's take a quick look. I'm sorry guys, just a second please to place this line correctly on the daily time frame. But I would like to place it like this. So we are retesting this level of support. We have seen a few touch points in the past on top of this ascending support line, and right now we are retesting this range once again. So this is actually showing us that we would like to stay actually on top of this range, otherwise further downward momentum is likely to occur, but as well that would be very bad for the overall trend. And what I think is absolutely important, that this was our previous rejection of our prior high, and we would like to stay actually on top of it, seeing clearly support being found on top of previous high. So that is something I think is very important to take into consideration. So this being said, let's take a quick look at the 4-hourly time frame. So on the 4-hourly time frame, I would like to remove actually the drawings that I made, because they are just not so good for the visuals. So what we are seeing here on Solana is that we are creating those lower lows. We are right now finding support on top of this range, what I think is absolutely important. And if we head a little bit further, let's take a quick look if we are spotting any type of pattern. Well, on the 4-hourly time frame, we are not. But if we enable the RSI, we are clearly seeing, well, let's take a quick look, and not any type of bullish or bearish divergence, but perhaps we are heading towards a bearish divergence due to the fact that if we see further continuation in price action, we will be seeing as well a further increase on the RSI, and we will clearly be creating a higher high with a lower high on the chart. So we would like to see exponential growth, otherwise we will be inside of a bearish divergence on the 4-hourly time frame that might perhaps be pushing the price down on Solana. Well, this being said, I would like to take a quick look as well at what we are seeing overall. You can clearly see that if you are right now on Solana, you would like to see a Solana breakout occur on the RSI above the 50 range. Otherwise, we will still be inside of this downtrend on the RSI, and that could perhaps mean that we could expect a rejection over here, heading once more towards a retest of the dotted line on the lower part. So this is for sure something I think is absolutely important on Solana right now. Let's take a quick look as well at what we're seeing on the 1-hourly time frame. So on the 1-hourly time frame, let's see what the measurement is showing us. So we are not seeing any type of bullish or bearish divergence, but you can clearly see that we are actually heading, as I said as well, on the 4-hourly time frame towards a very likely bearish divergence taking place, creating a higher high and a lower high on the chart. So this is something you would like to consider right now if you're inside of a long position on Solana, that we are seeing this bearish divergence taking place. Right now, I would like to enable the MACD. On the MACD, we are experiencing major momentum towards the upside. We are not seeing any type of momentum loss. That is actually looking very good, because this is actually telling us that we are seeing further continuation of the movement towards the upside. On the 2-hourly time frame, we did just experience a crossover, so this is actually very good as well. And on the 4-hourly time frame, we are seeing a momentum decline and loss, and therefore further continuation towards a crossover is actually very likely to occur during the upcoming hours, and as well further continuation on the chart, seeing an increase in price action. So where are we perhaps heading towards? Well, that's actually very clear. We will be heading firstly towards the $250 range, but I would like to discuss the EMA ribbon right now. So on the EMA ribbon, you can clearly see that it's clearly aligned with the $250 range. Therefore, if we are going to see a further increase, this will be the major level of resistance that we are looking at right now at the $250 range. If we are able to find enough movement towards the upside, we might perhaps be able to find support on top of the $250 range, breaking out above the EMA ribbon on the 4-hourly time frame, and seeing further increase heading towards the $278. This is actually very possible if we do see major movement towards the upside getting created during the upcoming hours, not just on Solana, but as well on Bitcoin. This being said, I would like to take a quick look at the 1-hourly time frame, where we are right now retesting the EMA ribbon as a level of resistance on top of us, and we are trying to see a breakout occur above this range to get supported by the EMA ribbon once more and find support on top of it once we are reaching towards the retest on the EMA ribbon on the 4-hourly time frame. So this is actually something that we would like to see if we would like to head once more towards the $278 range, or perhaps just in that direction. So this is actually very important right now on Solana. And what is actually even more important is, as I showed you previously on the daily time frame, we are for sure wanting to hold strong on top of this beautiful ascending support, where we are currently finding support on top, because this is a major level of support right now. It is a confirmed ascending support line, and we would like to see this uptrend continue by finding support on top of where we are currently at, heading once more towards the $250 range and seeing further continuation afterwards before heading once more towards a retest of this area. So this being said, I would highly appreciate if someone in the comments could place a comment with a cryptocurrency of your own choice. I would highly appreciate that, so I could take a look at that cryptocurrency right now. Otherwise, I will be discussing another type of crypto before ending this live stream, so do not forget to place your requests down below. This being said, Solana, personally, I think we are looking very strong. We are seeing the RSI. What you have to take into account is that we could perhaps see a bearish divergence taking place during the upcoming hours on Solana. So if you are right now inside of a long trade position, you would like to monitor the RSI and the money flow very closely. So lastly, I would like to take a quick look at, well, I'm not seeing a lot of people. So let's take a quick look at Polkadot. So on Polkadot, what we are seeing clearly right away on the daily time frame is that we are creating for the very first time a lower low. This is something I do think is concerning, because we were in Polkadot, we were seeing that major uptrend getting created during the past couple of months. We were heading crazy towards the upside. That is something I think was marvelous. We did see major growth on the chart, and what I think is important right now is that we are seeing this ascending support with just 2 touch points. So right now we are heading once more towards third touch point, and we would actually like to see, even if this is not a confirmed trend line yet, we would like to see this trend line getting confirmed by Polkadot by being able to find support on top of this area and continuing with the movement towards the upside afterwards. So that is actually something I think is good to know. And what else are we seeing? So yeah, we are also seeing on Polkadot, on the broader time frames or the major time frames, we are seeing this. Let's take a quick look, because I think most of you are seeing this as well. Yeah, well, we are seeing this beautiful broadening wedge getting created. So let's take a quick look if I did draw it correctly. Yeah, we have seen multiple touch points actually on top underneath this descending resistance, and I wouldn't call this a broadening wedge, but I would call this a ascending resistance. So we would like to actually see as well a breakout occur above this ascending resistance and see further growth afterwards on Polkadot, heading towards the $733 range, because this would mean that we are actually going to see a new movement towards the upside, and even a further continuation of creating higher highs on Polkadot and being able to find support on top of previous levels of resistance. So that would be actually very good for the overall trend once we are able to break out above this ascending resistance range. So this is on the daily time frame. For all the people who are watching, this is actually very important to take into consideration in the longer time frames. But as well, let's take a quick look at what the EMA ribbon is telling us. So the EMA ribbon is clearly still supporting the trend. We are not seeing a crossover occur, and therefore I am actually not concerned about Polkadot right now, because I do think we are going to be able to hold strong on top of this range. If we take a quick look as well at the MACD, you are clearly seeing that we are losing momentum strength on the daily time frame, and therefore during the upcoming week we might perhaps see major movement towards the upside and eventually as well a crossover occur, being able to break out above this ascending resistance, finding support on top of it and heading straight back up towards that $112 or $73 range, what I personally think is absolutely likely to occur within the upcoming month on Polkadot. So this being said, let's take a quick look at the 4-hourly time frame. On the 4-hourly time frame, we are experiencing some resistance above us by the EMA ribbon. You can clearly see that, and we are also seeing this beautiful descending resistance right now. So we are seeing this descending resistance with already 3 touch points underneath. So just to show it you perfectly, we have seen one, two, and a third touch points underneath this descending resistance. This descending resistance is perfectly aligned with the EMA ribbon. Therefore, on the 4-hourly time frame, we would clearly like to see a breakout occur above the 0.786 $41 range, see a breakout occur above this descending resistance and being able to find support on top of it, and seeing further continuation towards a $50 range or 49.3. So that is something I think is very, very, very important. And what you can clearly see as well is that at the 49.3 range, we were able to find support on top previously, but that is absolutely an important level because we would like to hold strong on top of that range, creating once more a higher low on the chart and seeing a clear trend reversal taking place. So that is something absolutely important right now to take into consideration on Polkadot and monitor very closely. If we take a look at the 1-hourly time frame, well, we are clearly right now heading towards a breakout above the EMA ribbon. The EMA ribbon on the 1-hourly time frame has served as a major level of resistance above us for quite a while already, and we would like to actually see a breakout occur above it, find support on top of the 0.786 at $41, and continue with the movement towards the upside, eventually breaking out above this descending resistance. So this does actually look very good to me, and what I must admit is that I have to take a look at the MACD as well. So the MACD, we are seeing further continuation on the MACD. We are not seeing any type of bearish divergences on the MACD, but what I can clearly see on the 1-hourly time frame is that we are creating this higher low and we are seeing this lower low on the chart. Therefore, this is a bullish divergence on the MACD. We are creating this lower low on the chart and this higher low on the MACD. Therefore, we could expect more continuation of this upward momentum on the 1-hourly time frame. If we take a quick look at the 4-hourly time frame, we are as well seeing this movement towards the upside starting to continue, and as well this minor bullish divergence taking place over here. So therefore, I'm actually quite confident that we are at least going to see a retest of this descending level of resistance. If we are going to be able to break out above it, that is something that I do not know yet, but I must admit that it looks absolutely strong. The trend looks very good to me, and therefore heading towards the $49 range is actually something I think is quite likely to occur during the upcoming hours and days. This being said, lastly, I would like to take a quick look at the RSI. On the RSI, I would like to see what it is saying to us. So on the RSI, we are as well seeing clearly a bullish divergence on the 4-hourly time frame. We are seeing this beautiful lower low on the chart, a higher low on the RSI. Therefore, it is a confirmed bullish divergence. This is absolutely marvelous. And what I think is absolutely more important is that if we take a look at this descending resistance, we are actually breaking out above it on Polkadot. And therefore, I think further continuation and growth on this price action is actually very likely, and that we could expect a reversal taking place or a decline in price action once we break out above the dotted line on the upper part. And that is something I think is very clear not occurring yet. So we still have plenty of growth on the RSI, and this is absolutely looking marvelous to me right now. If we go towards the 1-hourly time frame, let's take a quick look over here. On the 1-hourly time frame, well, you are perhaps seeing it right now. We are not seeing a bullish divergence on the 1-hourly time frame, but what I'm seeing is actually that we do have plenty of space to grow even further. And if we go a little bit further back, well, you can clearly see that right over here we were far higher than where we are currently at, and we were far lower than where we are currently trading at on the RSI. So therefore, this could be a bullish divergence due to the fact that we are creating a lower low and a higher low on the RSI. So this does actually look very good. And what is absolutely important is that we are still on the 50 range, and we do have plenty of space to see further continuation on Polkadot. So this is absolutely something I think is important to monitor closely. But what I must admit that we are heading towards a retest of this descending resistance as a level that we would like to see a breakout occur above. Otherwise, a rejection could be taking place once we reach the $42.07, 42.7 area. So this is absolutely important to monitor closely right now. Well, guys, thank you very much for watching this live stream. I really hope you enjoyed the content so far. If you did, do not forget to give me a thumbs up down below. And for all people who are watching and are not subscribed yet, do not forget to give me as well a push on the subscribe button and follow this live streams and as well the growth of this YouTube channel. So thank you very much for doing so, and have a nice day to all of you. Bye bye.